What's up, everyone? This is DYANAROZAY. Welcome to my channel. You guys see the thumbnail, okay? Let me put the thumbnail up. Y'all see the thumbnail so you know exactly why you're here. This is the official sister review, and my sister is here, okay? This is an official sister review for season 6B, episode 25. I called it Bonus Mom Blues because when I tell you Lexi, that is the bonus daughter for Miss Nell Fletcher, she gave Nell the blues this episode. We are going to talk all about it. Hell, Nell gave her the blues too. We are going to talk all about it. First up, though, I want to let y'all see the picture here. This is actually the family photo for the dinner, the dinner for the Fletchers, right? So they actually receive MVP for this episode. This is what my sister usually has up, but my sister is actually here with me. We're not doing it from different cities today. We are going to spend the holidays with each other. So, hey, what's up, Miss Clone? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So we are just going to jump right into it, child, because it is late. Okay. So, there's so much to unpack in this first scene.
Mm-hmm.
But we pick up exactly where we left off. This is a family dinner for the Fletchers. Nell is going in, like she's letting the kids know, I could be wealthy if I wasn't, spending all this money on my adult children. She's actually after little Tupac, which that's Chris Jr. And she's letting him know, you owe me damn near $11,000. She's like, you owe me $5,000 prior to getting arrested, us having to bail you out, and then us paying a huge veterinarian bill for your dogs. That was another $6,000. She was like, and you still haven't paid me back my money, and I am pissed. Give me my money back, and we'll give you your dogs back. And Lexi, who is, like I said, the bonus daughter, she's trying to find out what the hell's going on. She's already let people know, I haven't seen y'all in a while. Like, I'm here today, but I haven't seen y'all in a while. She's asking questions about, when did you go to jail? What happened? While, Nell is trying to have this mother conversation with her son, and you hear Nell say, Lexi, shut the hell up. Like she screams it. And Lexi is kind of taken aback. She's like, what is this? Like, oh my God. She looks at her father. She looks around at everyone else. And everybody's just kind of following suit. Like, listen, this is who she is. She's small, but there's a lot of mouth.
She's mighty. Yeah.
She's mighty. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody just kind of leans back and they let their mother do what she's doing. And Lance is like, well, we're going to be here for a while, so I'm going to go get a shot. He asked the ladies across the table, he asked his sisters, or his sister and his play sister, do y'all want to drink? And they're like, just bring the whole bottle, okay? He goes off, and then now it looks like Lexi is a little fed up with Nell, because she's saying, this is what I did for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And she just keeps hearing, this is what I did for y'all. And she's like, well, hold up, because you didn't do shit for me. Like, I've never asked you for nothing.
Right.
We barely see each other. I don't see you guys. We don't talk. Like, I'm here today, yes. However, I don't have a relationship with any of my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So they all stop, because this conversation that started with Chris Jr. has turned into something different. Lexi is finding this moment to bring up her grievances with the Fletcher family. Okay. She is grown. She is married. She probably has children. But she's tired as well. And she's lets them know, listen, I don't talk to y'all. I don't ask y'all for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you are clear when you say you do X, Y, and Z for us, because I'm not a part of the us. Then she starts pointing. She goes, you bought her a car and you bought all of them a car. I didn't get a car. And Kiki, who is the niece, or the play niece,
Mm-hmm.
she was like, don't point your finger over here. I didn't get a car. Like, I don't know what this is about, but don't do that. Okay. She gave the Stormy, don't do that. Do not do that. But now she's triggered a lot of the people at the table, because she said, you don't do anything for me. And Nell says, and I want to make sure that you are clear. Nell says, I didn't treat you any different. and you got stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming from the bonus mama. It's
Right.
not coming from Chris.
Right.
In fact, Chris is mute.
He doesn't say a word.
He doesn't say nothing.
Eyes down at the table.
Yep, just kind of smirking. And it's not because he's a quiet fellow, because we see at the end that he can pop off too.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not taking control the way you would expect the man of the table, and especially since it's actually his daughter.
Right.
You would expect him to say, wait a minute, you're going too far.
Right.
Or, pausing Nell, but he doesn't.
He doesn't pause anybody. Any of the siblings, nothing. They kind of all come at her.
Correct. So she's, now the conversation is her and Nell. She says, you didn't do anything for me. And then she says, when I was, in her teens, she had to save up money to buy herself a hoopty. And she explains that she bought this Trans Am. And Nell says, I gave you $22,000.
Mm-hmm.
The bonus mom. It came out of my pocket. In fact, she's letting all the kids know that everything they've gotten has come out of her pocket.
Right.
She said, if it was up to your daddy, you wouldn't have shit. He told me not to buy you the expensive cars, but I would break my back to do these things for y'all. And if I wasn't buying you guys stuff or bailing you out, I wouldn't have to work anymore. I would have had enough money in the bank to just live carefree. So this is interesting, this moment that we are watching Nell say, not only did I do for mine, I did for my bonus daughter as well. But that's not enough for Lexi. Lexi says, listen, number one, I bought my own car. Number two, I got into a car accident. You had given me some money, but I got into a car accident and I ended up buying a second car. But at this point, you can see that Lexi is also, she does have some of the entitlement that the other kids have, correct?
Mentally, yes. You're
Mentally.
absolutely correct. Yes.
Because, yes, there are 4 kids. 3 of them grew up together in the same household with Nell and Chris. Lexi was outside of this household.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely is looking, from the outside in, saying there's things that they are doing. There's things that they have that I don't have.
Right. I'm going to guess from the way that she's responding that she didn't grow up the same.
No, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
There was an economic, financial difference, correct?
Right, correct.
But it also feels to me like, even though Chris and Nell built their wealth together, that Nell may be a little more wealthy than Chris. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. I noticed that when she said, I gave you $22,000, she didn't say your dad gave it to you. And he didn't say we gave it. There was no we. There was no, she said, I gave you $22,000.
I gave you 22.
Which made me go, huh?
Right.
You gave her $22,000?
And I'm telling you, those words mean something.
Those words mean something.
It
means I didn't have to.
I didn't have to. Correct. That's what I said. I was like, oh, damn. She's very specific. Right. She was like, Lexi, I gave you $22,000. And this is also angering the other kids because they're like, my mama.
Right. My mama worked hard.
Did this for you. Now she was saying this to y'all need to respect me and my wealth to all the kids.
Right.
They were kind of just sitting there like, But when it jumped on Lexi, they were like, yeah, child, get it together. Right. You always play the woe is me.
Right.
And she said, no, I play the woe is me.
Yeah, she's definitely a little drama queen there.
Right.
But yeah.
And then little Tupac says, listen, let this go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Like, you do this every time. And she said, if I didn't let it go, I would be sitting here right now.
Right. I haven't seen you in a year.
I haven't seen you since November
of last year.
Now, I want to say, while all this is going down, there's 2 men at the table that's quiet. That's Chris Fletcher and Lexi's husband, Alan.
Yep.
AKA Scooby-Doo.
Cut it out.
Shaggy Doo. AKA Shaggy Doo. But I do want to say that Shaggy Doo cleaned that damn plate. The greens, the cornbread.
Leave that boy alone.
The ham hocks. Whatever it was that Nell cooked. There's a little bit of something on everyone's plate.
He's a growing man.
Except for Alan's and Lexi. Both of them tore them plates up. Now, back to what I was saying.
Lord have mercy.
They all are trying to get her to recognize that, she was involved in some things, and she's definitely on, she's on one. She's like, you didn't invite me to vacations. When you got married to old girl, y'all all went on a vacation
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't invited.
Right.
And they don't say to her, you're wrong.
Right.
She's given specific examples. Okay. Now, when she said, I've never been invited on vacations, they did say, that's not true, Lexi. That's not true. But when she gives examples, they don't say you're wrong.
Right.
That was weird. In fact, Lance, who was the one who got married to old girl, he looks down at the table. He looks down at the table, and I was like, well, damn, Lance, because he has the same mannerisms as Chris Fletcher.
Yeah.
So when he talks, his cadence is very similar. He does his hands the same.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, you're playing the woe is me. He's doing all this. But when she points out specifically, you went on vacation after you got married to old girl, I wasn't invited. And he just looks down. Then she's like, and don't think I didn't see those Facebook photos when y'all had that other vacation or event at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all were all on. I didn't get invited to that either. And Nell says, yo, that was
right.
an employee event. It was employee appreciation.
Right.
Well, clearly she saw all of y'all there, so she had to have thought it was something more. But she's like, employee appreciation. So you remember to bring the employees, because I did see other people there. So you remember to bring them, and you forgot me, your so-called daughter. And that's when she hit her with the damn air quotes.
What was up with the air quotes?
She said, I'm not your real daughter, bitch. I'm your so-called daughter.
What the best part was, when Nell responded, she didn't just say it like one word in air quotes. She did her entire paragraph in air quotes.
Yeah.
It's like, she was flapping those fingers up and down.
She said, yes, my so-called daughter was being an asshole. She did at least 17 sentences in air quotes, but she caught those air quotes, baby.
Yep.
She caught it.
Like, I caught it, and I'm going to give it right
back.
back.
And I'm giving it right back to you.
Throwing it right back at you.
Yeah, that pissed Nell off, but that was the bottom dig when she said the air quotes. And I literally was like, well, is Chris going to jump in here? But no, baby.
It's like, I'm gonna let y'all have it.
He stayed in a fog.
That's right.
He literally was looking anywhere but where he needed
Bennett.
to look.
I ain't it.
Yes, he is upset. But this also triggers the rest of the children who are like, Lexi, at one point, I think her name, Kayla.
Mm-hmm.
Kayla said, we tried to apologize. So there's something that she hasn't gotten over, and they admit in this moment, because Kayla said, we tried to apologize to you. Either it's we tried to apologize for leaving you out, but she said, you blocked us. And she went, well, I blocked you because you weren't even willing to admit you did something wrong. But now you're saying you've done something wrong. And I'm like, whoa, this is deep.
Much deeper. I cannot wait for more of this to unfold.
Yeah, it is deep. It is deep. It is deep. So we can see that there is two sides clearly, but we can also see that both of them are
hurting
at a fault at some point. They both have done some things to each other. And when she says, you guys weren't talking to me, and she points out everybody at this point, she says, Kayla, you and I don't have a relationship. We don't talk. Chris Jr., you and I don't have a relationship. We don't talk. Lance, you and I don't have a relationship. We don't talk. You guys all have a relationship with each other. You grew up in this house with each other.
Yeah.
Lance is like, we've tried with you. We went to your wedding. We barely got invited.
I don't understand that barely part.
Yeah, well,
we barely got invited. You barely showed up. I'm like, what does that mean? You either
barely
did or you didn't.
We barely got invited, but when we did show up, we showed out for you. And she and Kiki, who's the niece, the play niece, she said, listen, you and I used to talk. And then you stopped and you didn't invite me to your wedding. You didn't invite me. And I felt away, so I pulled back from you. Everyone has hurt feelings here, all the way down to the play niece.
Major. Yeah.
And she says,
and their real hurt feelings.
Their real hurt feelings. She says to her, when all this is, going on, she's like, I don't get, at the end of the day, if you guys continue to lie on me, I'm going to leave. Okay. I don't have to be here. I don't have to stay here. And that's when Nell decides to bang her hand on the table and said, don't disrespect me. Because now she has decided, Chris, I'm the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, well, Chris is clearly going to chime in here and say, Kayla, you and I, let's step aside, or just at the very minimum, stand up from your seat, Chris, go over, grab Kayla's shoulders.
Right, let me walk you out.
Let me walk you to another room so you and I can talk and have a one-on-one. He doesn't.
Don't do this, anything.
Yep. But Kayla jumps up, or excuse me, not Kayla. I said
Lexi.
Kayla, I meant Lexi. I was expecting Chris to get up and embrace his daughter, maybe grab her arm and say, can you and I talk? This is deep. I want to make sure that you're okay and that we don't leave on a bad note. Because we find out later from Nell, she said, listen, that dinner set us a step backward. It seemed like it would have set him like a whole century backward, to tell you the truth. But Chris says nothing. Lexi ends up jumping up and saying, I'm out of here. Y'all are you're effing this. Kiss my blank. I don't care nothing about y'all bees.
Right.
She said everything under the sun in that house at that dinner table. I'm happy that Shaggy Doo got a chance to eat all of his meal. He did not get any dessert, though. I know he was upset about that.
Poor Alan. Just ignore this.
Alan, I love you dearly, okay? But I know you wanted dessert and you didn't get it because Lexi took that moment to lose it. So she goes outside. He realizes he got to go too. So he finally gets his ass up out the seat and follows behind her. Chris is still sitting there. He doesn't move. He says, first Nell says,
yeah,
that's why I told you not to invite her.
Yeah.
Which, if she has these thoughts, you confirmed everything for her. If she felt different, you confirmed everything for her in that moment, saying that. That's why I told you not to invite her. And Chris is trying to just put a blanket on all things and say, this happens every family dinner. This isn't unusual for us, kind of thing. And yeah, she still is holding on to this. When she walks out the door, all of the kids, except for Chris Jr., call her name, get the F out of here. I should have smacked that B. I think Kayla was like, make sure you block me again. And then she called her a B. It got ugly.
I thought that was taking it a little too far.
It felt like it. It definitely felt like it. Now, again, we're just getting a very small glimpse into this family's dynamics, and their individual stories will be different.
Right.
But from what we could see, it is definitely both of them feel away. And I very much got the impression that Lexi felt like she was living on the outside of a family that was doing things she couldn't do because maybe her family didn't have it financially.
Redheaded stepchild.
And she felt left out. And I feel like Nell was like, I'm making money to take care of my family in this household. And because Chris wasn't talking a whole lot, I almost got the impression that maybe Nell is the one who carries the home financially.
I kind of got that impression too. I was kind of wondering about it, but they said that they've helped her out on several things. She's just not recalling it, but they never really said what those things were.
Right. That is the problem, is that they never discussed what. So it's weird that they don't discuss what they helped her with or gave, solid examples. So I'm looking forward to seeing this unfold in the future.
Me too.
But Chris ends up leaving the table and following behind Lexi. They're in the car. They're about to drive away. He starts walking down the driveway and he puts his finger up like, hey, wait. And then he, points down to the ground like, stop that car. And Shaggy Doo stops. Lexi's on the other side. She's very upset. When he gets to the window, And she's still fussing about the cars. And by the way, them cars were parked in the driveway. They were nice, okay? But she's saying, I'm tired of this. You were never there for me. What was going on at that table isn't true. She
Mhm.
said, you bought every one of them kids a car. Chris got a Charger. Kayla got a BMW. Lance got a Mercedes. Like, she's yelling out who got what. And
Mhm.
he's like, that isn't true. That isn't true. However, again, it just feels weird. Like Chris might have, there's more of a background story to this than
Yeah.
he's sharing with his
But
daughter.
he kept saying at the moment, all you're talking about is the car. It's just about the cars.
Mm-hmm.
Which, remember, she got $22,000.
Yeah, he said, Kayla, if this is all there is,
right?
oh, excuse me, Lexi, my bad. If this is all there is, you got the money.
Right.
You got the money, but it isn't just that. It's a lifestyle. It's
a
the
lifestyle.
life that you
Yeah.
guys had versus the life she had.
Right.
And that is really what's bothering her, is that not only did you live a different life, she didn't really feel included in that life, because when you went on family vacations, she was excluded.
Right. Because was it oh gosh, what's this young lady's name right here? Kiki. Wasn't it Kiki that said when she left the house to get into the car, wasn't it Kiki that said she wants what everybody else has?
She did. She said, I wanted to smack the shit out of her because it's unfair that she came in here and decided she wants what everyone else has. But she feels entitled to what everyone else has because she also feels, I am a Fletcher. I have the same blood as the rest of your children. Why don't I have any of the things they have?
Why don't I have this lifestyle? Why am I not going on vacations? Why am I not sitting by the pool?
Why am I not? Exactly. And it ends with Chris basically saying to her, you're a liar. And then he says, you're an effing liar. And I'm telling you right now, this was actually the worst part of the scene. When he says, you're a liar, get the F on. And she says, what? Are you serious? And he says, get the F on. And he starts walking and he points to the street. He points down the road and says, get the F on 3 times.
Yes.
I don't care who you are. If you are a daughter and you hear your daddy say that to you, you will be crying for a fucking month. I don't care.
That's true.
You will cry for a month. You will cry for a lifetime.
I'm going to tell you the part that kind of made me go,
what?
Was when she said she was going to burn the house down.
Oh, yeah, she sure did. When he was saying you're lying, she said, I will burn this fucking house down.
I was like, no, she didn't.
Yeah, she said that. She did. So again, it was representative for me. It showed that she had a problem with the life that they live. Her issue is, you guys live a life that is way different from mine. And you didn't try to include me in that life.
That's what I picked up.
That's what I heard.
I mean, it was one scene, but
right. It's one scene, but that little glimpse is what it felt like it was to me.
My spidey senses told me it was a lot more to it.
So anyway, she was shocked, but she did say she was going to burn that effing house down.
Yeah,
which did not shock Chris as much as her saying.
It shocked me.
When he was trying to get her to slow down a little bit, he was like, that's your perception. Well, if that's her perception, Chris, that's everything. She doesn't have any other perception except for her own. But he didn't know how to console her in that space. Even though he is a, counselor to others. And sometimes when it's directly affecting you, you don't have the language for it. But he's just like, don't accuse me of that. And you can tell that he just turned into another person, because we don't even see Chris engage on that level.
It offended him.
Yeah, it definitely offended him.
Yeah, because what offended him was she said that he wasn't there for her until she turned 28.
Yeah.
I don't know how old she is now, but I'm guessing it's not much.
Yeah, if she's 28. In her 30s, she was like, so for my whole life until I turned 28 is when you decided to be there for me.
Right.
And he said, that's an effing lie.
Yeah.
That's an effing lie.
That's when he got upset.
Yep. So anyways, that's basically how that part ended. ended, he, went walking back up to the house. The producers made sure to show him walking back into that driveway, that long driveway with that beautiful multi-million dollar house.
Mm.
Or, it's an expensive house, clearly.
They have a lovely lifestyle for
They
sure.
have a lovely lifestyle for sure.
Mhm.
And they show him walking back down that driveway and her driving off in, I think, an Infinity. So they're like, oh, okay. But either way, what we can see is that it appears that Lexi, she's rebelling a little bit,
Mhm.
all the way down to her choice of husband.
Yep.
I don't want what my father represented.
Yeah.
I don't want what my father represented. And I say that because I think that Chris and Nell see themselves as pillars in their community,
For sure.
as people who counsel and
Mhm.
do certain good deeds. But Lexi has gone the complete opposite of that.
Right. I think Nick, Chris, and Nell have gotten to themselves to a point where they are now. Not that they've always been that.
Okay.
Right.
Either way,
Mhm.
she's still in a place where she's like, usually a woman will marry a man like her father,
Mhm.
or what she believes her father to be.
Right.
You can tell that Alan and Chris aren't the same.
Right. Well, we don't know.
Well, they could be.
We have not heard from Alan.
It
Alan has
looks
not
like they're both
spoken.
quiet. Maybe they
Yes.
share that in common. Okay.
Alan, this is not against you if you're watching.
Oh my God, who gives a shit? Don't be apologizing to Alan on my part. Alan, if you're watching, oh well.
Get out.
You put yourself on that channel. It's okay. What I can say is that you eat all your veggies.
Okay. We're done.
Okay. Moving on. Let's talk Stormy. Let's talk Stormy and her husband, Courtney. Listen, these are going to be short scenes because, it really was just a filler scene. But we have Stormy. She's letting Courtney know that she's going to do a mediation between Tiffany and Kiki. And, he kind of jokes with her like, ooh, that's going to be, hard, And she's like, yeah, but she's going to get it done. She poured this big old glass of wine.
Mm-hmm. They
talk a little bit about the business. It's really hard to keep up with the business part of this. I don't really know what happened. She's kind of talking in a very roundabout way where there's not a whole lot of details being spilled. So it's really hard to share with you guys what is going on here, other than her business took a hit. She had a $40 million business and it took a hit some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
She's making the comment that they are in their 2.0 season and she's making it seem like they survived it, but she doesn't understand, how they could have a phenomenal year in 2020 and then in 2022 kind of hit the bottom that they hit. Courtney basically says business is cyclical. You're gonna have your ups, your downs. It is what it is.
Right. Ebbs and flows.
Yep. And it is what it is. That's it. I don't have anything more to add to that. Courtney also lets her know that Junior, the person they fake fired, is still a part of the business. Okay. That's how the scene ends. Next scene, we have Martell Holt and his brother Montez. It looks like Montez was able to do this scene before he got locked up. They are moving Martell into his new home.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night. He said, I had to do a late move because that's when all of my uncles and my brother were available.
That is usually when people are doing something shady, but go ahead.
Child, first off, how in the hell, nobody has no energy for no late night move, but Martell wants us to think that's the case. Anyway.
I usually move at 2:00 in the morning. No big deal.
Yeah, it's no biggie. Shit. The sun was out. We don't like to be out. We don't like to be out in the sun during the day, all that moving. So we moved
in the world.
We moved in the evening.
That's
okay.
Evening.
Right. Evening. It was a mid-morning. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, he ends up moving. He's moving his things in. They got the little glass tabletop. He said he needed at least 5 bedrooms because he has 5 kids. Okay. 2 boys, 3 girls.
Mm-hmm.
He moves in, and then he also mentions that he's going to get eye surgery. He said that he has these bags under his eyes that he does not like. What is that surgery called?
A Left tree.
Left surgery. So we had a scene back in season 6A where Martell's eyes were so puffy. Martell's eyes were so puffy. I literally was like, did he get injections?
Oh, like
Anyway, it looks like he
fillers?
had a bee sting in his eyes. Both eyes were really puffy. But he claims that he requires blith surgery for his eyes because he has some sort of, what would that be? Just
Bags?
a dysfunction. Yeah, the bags. I still think he got fillers, and I still think that he was probably just doing a little bit of cosmetic surgery, which his brother points out, like, child, bye. You about to get that facelift? I knew it. Then Martell calls Chris and lets him know that he's moved out of their house. He said, I've moved out of that house. We are literally in the middle of the move right now. Chris is like, thank the Lord.
Right.
Okay. He also talks about the conversation that Martell had with Nell. He was like, I heard that you guys had a pretty heated discussion. Martell says yes, but it's cool. They were able to walk away with everything being all right. Anyway, it's a fluff scene. There's nothing else here. Thank God for Nell and Chris for this episode, because truly we didn't have a whole lot of meat and potatoes for a whole lot of scenes. Okay. But next up, we got Melody and her good friend since college. I think she said it was her college roommate.
Yes.
Her name is Brittany. So if you follow Mel on IG, she discusses Brittany quite a bit, talks about when Brittany is over with her children. But she said that Brittany has been with her since the beginning. She said she was with her marriage. She was with her with all of the birth of her children. That's her friend. When she has something going on, she's been with her through her divorce. That's her friend. So she's seen her highs, she's seen her lows, and now we finally, in season 6, we get a real friend of Melody to show up on set and film with her, and she is here to help her pack her products for her skincare line. And they do a little bit of talking, and Mel said, why weren't you there for me? Why didn't you come to my name changing ceremony, right? And Brittany was like, I thought we already talked about this, girl. What do you want me to do? My niece turned 16. It was her sweet 16. I had to go to Atlanta to be a part of it.
Right.
And Mel was like, well, I want to know how you're going to make this up. Brittany said, let's just have another name changing ceremony, child. You did one, let's do 2.
Right.
She was like, why would I have 2? She went, so I can be there.
I could be there. Yeah. It gotta be nobody but me and you. It's
okay.
fine.
She was like, listen, if these are the moments that we're supposed to be together as friends, we need to have a second one. And Mel was like, calm your nerves, Brittany. She said, listen, instead of being there for the name changing ceremony, how about you be there and help me pick a new man? Okay. You know what I like, right? She was like, of course. I know what you like. I've been around you enough to know that you need a man who physical touch is important to you. She said some other things that I can't recall at the moment, but she said the next one need to be at least 6'2", child. She said a real 6'2".
Like the last one was a fake 6'2".
She said, I don't know what Martell be putting in that bio, but he's not 6'2". That man ain't 6'2".
Take them lips off. Exactly.
He got them damn shoes on with the fish tank at the bottom.
Exactly.
She said, we need you to get a real man, who's really 6'2" and not that bullshit.
Right.
And she said, and we'll figure it out. Now, Melody, on the other hand, was like, I don't know if a Huntsville man can handle me. So maybe we can go on and find a man that is outside of the country. I think I have international vagina. And that just floored Brittany. Brittany was laughing her ass off. But at the end of the day, it looks like we will get to see Melody have a real friendship on the show, some real chemistry and dynamics. And we are all looking forward to that. Because listen, y'all, if y'all watch me for any length of time, if y'all watch my season 3 review, I said at the end of the reunion, get a real friend on from Melody, because Kimmy, Tisha, Destiny at the time, I said, them hoes cannot be trusted.
Mm.
Okay. And we have been suffering through ever since with all of the play, even though I do think that Nell does love Melody and want to see her do well.
Mm.
I'm happy that we also get to see her engage with a real friendship, which is Miss Brittany, someone that she's known for a long time and has no connections with anybody else. So, anyway, that's how the scene pretty much ended, but they did give us the little buddy. They did give us this little buddy picture.
Why does he look like he's biting his lip?
He is biting his lip. And I literally said, I was like, this almost looked like the picture that it wasn't Boss Baby. Who was it? It wasn't Boss Baby, it was another one. Malia, I think. Is Malia Boss Baby? Anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. It was a middle child. One of them drew a stick picture and said that it was Martell.
Oh
And
my
I literally
goodness.
cracked up. Anyway, let's get to the next one. The next scene is Chris and Nell Fletcher again.
Mhm.
Looks like Chris is dropping off some infamil or something to Nell Fletcher's business. She's in her office and she says, "Hey, I need to talk to you," when he walks past the door with his little checkered suit on.
Right.
He said, "I'll be back." Okay. Ends up putting the stuff down, comes back in and was like, "What's going on?" Nell says she really didn't want to have this conversation with him. Correct?
Yeah.
She said, "I want to have this conversation with him, but I got to." This is also I just want to point this out. She said after the dinner, she had called little Chris Jr., several times. Called him that night, called him the next day, sent him a text. He wasn't responding to any of her, attempts to reach out to him.
Yep.
They didn't mention Lexi at all.
No.
And when Lexi says that she feels different, that she's treated different, this will be one of those moments, because you had a tough moment with both Lexi and with little Chris.
Right.
You reached out to little Chris, you didn't reach out to Lexi. So she's saying this to her husband, and she said, "Have you heard from him?" He said, "No, I try to call him too. He's not answering me either." And she says, "Listen, I think I gotta cut the strings. I've been mommy to them for a long time. I have adult children that I have played mommy to for a long time. It's about time I cut the last two letters off and just become mom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be mommy anymore. I don't want to have to play this rescue game with them anymore. I'm tired of the worry
And the blame.
and the blame." She did say
Right.
that.
Yeah.
She said, I'm tired of the worry and the blame. I have a lot on my plate."
Mm-hmm.
And Chris says, "I support you in that." And they talked a little bit about Lexi as well in their confessional. He said, "I love my child. She's my child. I love her. She's our child."
Yes. He put the hour in there.
And Nell said, "I love her too," which was a little different from what she said in the previous confessional, when Chris said, "She's my child. I love her." And she said, "I respect that for you." I respect that for you. Like, I have to cut my ties.
Mm-hmm.
But in this second scene, she says, "I do love her."
Mm-hmm.
And, they all came into this marriage, so all of those children were babies.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see how you can have some connections, and I can also see how, whether people like to believe it or not, when you have children, and it doesn't matter if they're your children physically or not, you love children according to their needs.
Right.
And it's really hard for people to accept. But when there's a child that needs more from you than you feel you can actually give, you have a way of pushing them aside. And she did that in that first confessional, and then she tried to retract it and say that, she's our child. But I'll say this: you didn't call her the way you tried to call little Chris.
I think she does. I think she genuinely loves that girl. I just think she
didn't call her like she called little Chris. She didn't call her multiple times and send text messages multiple times.
Well, okay. Go
When
ahead.
she said, "Did you hear from little Chris?" He said no. She didn't say, "Did you hear from Lexi?" She didn't say, "Did you call Lexi?" Did you hear that part and I just missed it?
You ain't gotta get all indignant with me.
I'm
I hear you.
asking a question.
All right.
All right, then. Moving on.
I thought the most important part of that scene, though, did we talk about
What?
where he suggested that maybe they go to counseling?
Oh, my bad. So we get this beautiful picture of the family when they were younger and happier. That looks like Lexi, Kayla, Chris, and Nell, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, listen, they have actually went backwards in their journey. They've been trying to mend things, and that the dinner, what happened at the dinner, actually set them back.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris said it is about time that we go to counseling at this point, which they do need. They need to learn how to talk to each other, and they need to learn how to understand and respect each other's journey.
And I think they need to unpack the real reasons why they're having so many issues on both sides.
Okay. They agreed. Nell agreed. She was like, we're the counselors. Typically, people see us as a go-to. And, sometimes the counselors always need a counselor, period.
Mm-hmm.
They have dysfunction as well. All right, last scene is Stormy and Kiki. They are coming together to Stormy's coming together to mediate between Tiffany and Kiki. I want to say this because there was a scene that happened in 6A that it didn't hit for me. Like when I saw the scene, I didn't get it. I said it in my review that this felt weird and fake and phony. And so I kind of put it down. When something doesn't make sense to me, I put it down. I don't try to carry it or make it make sense later. But there was a scene with Melody's tea party. It was a tea party where Kiki and Tiffany get into it. I don't know if you remember that scene, so I'm just going to give you some background. They get into it at the table. This tea party is supposed to help people communicate with each other better.
Right. Yep.
It's supposed to help people have some etiquette, respect each other's space, learn how to talk to each other in a respectful way so that people don't take things personally. And out of nowhere, we have Tiffany say to Kiki, well, I don't respect how you told your cousin's business
Mm-hmm.
at Melody's pajama party. Which, by the way, like Tiffany herself was actually in the hot seat at that damn pajama party. So for her to say she don't respect anything that was going on there just felt stupid and weird, right? For me.
Okay.
After that, we get Kiki saying to her, listen, you act like you don't know me. What else did she say? We definitely know each other. I attempted to help you find your father.
Mm-hmm. I know who my father is.
And then she said, oh, and by the way, I know who my father is.
Mm-hmm.
So she gave this Claire Huxtable read. I was still sitting there like, why is this even happening? Because who the hell is Tiffany?
What do you mean?
I mean, who is she to say what she dislikes about anybody when she is one of the most disliked people on the show? That's what I meant.
Okay.
I didn't get where this was coming from. I didn't understand the venom.
Me either.
Okay. Then we get a scene where Melody has a dinner or something, a lunch. She invites Kiki, Tiffany, and Nell to the dinner, and it was for the purpose of getting Tiffany and Kiki to, move on. We want you to move on from whatever this was. Again, for me, I was like, well, what was it in the first damn place? It made no sense. Period. Didn't understand it. Really just thought it was a fluff scene and didn't think about it again. Number one, Tiffany said some mess like, or I think it was Tisha. Tiffany was coming over and she was talking to me about Kiki. Like she was really helping me through a tough time with my cousin. And I was like, that's a bold-faced lie because we haven't seen Tisha and Kiki in a scene yet, other than the scene where they were at lunch together about the Black Expo. And when Tisha left, she looked at Tiffany and said, don't invite me to any more mother effing BS like this again.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That didn't suggest to me that they were strong friends, that they were building a friendship. It just felt like a lie of a scene.
Okay.
Okay. We see another scene at Martell's magazine event / birthday. He has Sheree on the show that time. Tiffany ends up doing this really bold thing and asking Sheree, do you think your poon is going to keep Martell around when he's a known cheater?
Yep, I remember.
But again, all fake. Nothing about Tiffany says she does anything like that. Correct?
Yeah. No, you're right.
No, nothing. So again, anything that had to do with Tiffany having any type of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like camaraderie, interaction.
Not camaraderie, like when you're into it with someone. Tiffany has never been into it with anybody on the show
Mm-hmm.
where she didn't leave crying. So I never thought about it again.
Okay.
Next up, we have Tiffany on Carlos King's podcast. He does an interview with her. Sorry about that. He does an interview with her where she is saying all kinds of stuff about Kiki.
Mm.
She made it seem like she was barefoot, eats with her hands.
Barbaric. Yeah.
Right. Eats with her fingers, chews with her mouth open. Anything that you can do.
Right.
Anything that lacks etiquette, okay?
Yeah.
Anything that lacks etiquette, couth. She made it seem like Kiki represented that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, super bold for Tiffany, because who the fuck is Tiffany? Where is this even coming from? She didn't have any of the smoke for Destiny or anybody else who came after her.
Mm.
When she's first arrived on the show, she has an interaction with Maurice where he literally brought her to tears in the bathroom.
Mm.
Neither her or her husband addressed Maurice and say, if you don't get the F on, like there was plenty they could have said to him, but they didn't. Long story short, we find out that Tiffany is behind the Crime Stoppers tape. Like she sent this tape to the blogs. Now they have real beef. And that's where I'm going to come in on, because I don't believe anything that happened before that. This is the only beef they actually have. And Stormy is actually sitting here saying, I need y'all to work this shit out, because I know you, Kiki, are the type of person who you're going to go from 0 to 10. She actually admits it. She's like, listen, I don't have a lot of time for this. If she keeps it out, I'm going to give her what she wants.
Mm.
So she's making threats. They might be subtle, but she's making threats. And then basically Tiffany shows up, and when she walks in the door, Kiki says, I see you got the baby. Why?
I don't know. I saw that too. It was so shady, but
I was like, well, she ain't lying on some stuff
like,
at this point.
You have the baby.
Oh, you have the baby.
It was like, wow.
I was like, Kiki.
Why do you sound like an old white woman on Fifth Avenue? It's weird.
Right. Outside of that damn Crime Stoppers tape, what real beef do y'all actually have?
I don't know. Well, the jump in the fence because she couldn't pay the $1 entry fee was pretty bad.
She said she couldn't pay a $1 entry fee. However, I'm going to say this. Even if that was the case, there was plenty of, she could have gotten at her a long time ago.
That's true.
She could have gotten at her a long time ago because she still sees her at the games.
Girl,
that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm still just playing this by ear. I'm watching it. In order for me to believe this scene at all, I'm going to have to believe that it has something to do with the Crime Stoppers video. Beginning of season 6b, Melody visits with Kiki and says, listen, I heard about this through Tiffany, and I need y'all to squash the beef. Please, please, please come to the baby reveal so that we can get this, out of our way. We can't keep this up.
Right.
She didn't go because she had some back pain. She ended up in the hospital. Now we're here. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, cool beans. This is pretty much it for the review, y'all. If you guys could talk to me in the comments, let me know what y'all think about the whole your daughter with the quote fingers, Nell giving the quote fingers to say back, listen, child, you better get the hell on. Let me know what y'all think about this entire episode, okay? Like the video, subscribe to my channel, hit your notification bell. I will check you all on the next one. And yeah, that's it. Bye, clone.
Bye.